the way. I'm more concerned with just getting my numbers done. Like I said, I want to do 200 podcasts this year. Um, I thought having multiple bodies as a man. hmm, Thoughts on having multiple bodies as a man. I'm 17 and I got 15 bodies. Damn, by your age, I had way more. I think I never disclosed my body count with people nowadays, but after high school, I had like more than 40. But I think it's different for a man. Not even to sound hypocritical. I don't think that you should just be running around just having sex with anybody, right? We gotta have some rules and laws. And I always tell guys, it's not the best thing, but I feel like at a certain age, when I realized girls liked me a lot, it was very easy. And at that young age, it was just like, I don't know, it just went through this phase where just girls just they were just coming. It was like really easy for me. And I think because of that, that ended in an end result of me just having like a very high body count. So damn, y'all crazy. I only caught one body. Well, my boy did it. It was there. He served time. All right. Well, listen, we're not talking about that kind of body. We we talk about sex. We're not talking about taking lives. Wrong type of body. I know you did that shit on purpose. That was funny though. You know, should I only disclose my body count to those highly interested? I don't want to walk into bear traps. Well, if you're a female, then they're not gonna tell. You're not really gonna tell her anyway. But as a man, I never disclose it only because it's ridiculously high. Like it's ridiculous. Most women don't really care about it though. Most women really don't care about it. Um, because I've had women say like, "Oh, I expect it to be high. I expect your body count to be really high," and I don't have anything and I won't get anything, inshallah, knock on wood, right? But it's ridiculous. It's kind of really like it's something I'm kind of ashamed of, to be honest. It is. The body count situation is a thing. I feel like there's always exceptions. There's always exceptions, but I feel like the only time you really need to know a woman's body count if you're about to marry her. Um, I kind of shy away from that conversation. I just don't really want to know. I try to draw a conclusion based off boyfriends but nowadays environment's crazy. My girlfriend tells me she is busy, but I know she isn't. Do I pull back? Absolutely. Feminine men for the win. I think most. Why Randall calling me? Uh, Yellow. All right. How can I start pulling? Pulling what? He said do a background check mandatory. That's crazy. That's actually not. That's actually not a bad idea. I actually really just want to do this podcast. Um, Africa and Asia have low zero body counts these days. I mean, hey, listen, that's the thing, you never know. But I'll tell you this. Yeah, you just never know. Ain't no follow up for that. You just really never know, especially in America. Any open like society like America, you'll never really know. But I just want to let me do this podcast because I can't be on here alone. I want to eat. I got some really good food. I haven't eaten all day. I've been starting to fast, preparing for Ramadan. Um, but let's do this podcast. Let's get into this shit. Let me show I got everything in place. To Instagram. Video didn't play last time. My man Michael B. Jordan. Who saw Creed? Creed was a really good movie. I just hate like the choreograph and like the fake fighting is so corny. But like, for the theatrics of it, it's really cool. Watching is really cool. All that good stuff. But drop the ones. She said, "Who's God? Who's God?" Really random question. But but yeah. So drop the ones in the chat. If you guys ready for the podcast? I just want to get this shit done. I just came back from a run. I want to eat. I haven't eaten all day. Um, yeah, I want to eat, and I just really want to get off of this. It's been a busy day. I really slept in late today. Who's got what are y'all talking about? Anyway, guys, drop the ones. Let me see a one. 21. Can you do something for me? How to accumulate wealth. I actually did a really good podcast on that. Not necessarily wealth, but to be a high earner. Do you step over Islam or have you been Muslim? Do you step over to I've been Muslim all my life. Why do people think that I'm a convert? Is it because I'm black? Hmm? Is that why? No. I've been Muslim all my life. Went to Quran classes, went to Arabic classes, religion classes, all that. I mean, obviously, I'm not the most religious, but it's because I'm black. That's why. I'm not really black. I'm Moreno. I'm Moreno. Estoy Moreno. When I say Arabic classes, I'm talking about reading, like reciting Quran. I don't speak Arabic. What you gonna ask me to recite Quran on live too? Like, come on. Come on now. Message me on Instagram. I'll recite some Quran for you. I'm not about to do that on live. I gotta prove to the world I'm Muslim. He said recite Fatiha. Like I said, message me on Instagram. I'll recite it for you. I'll send you a nice voice message. Would you ever leave New York? Probably. New York is a bit crazy. New York be getting on my damn nerves. Anyway, all right. I see y'all not gonna drop the ones in the chat for me, so I'm just gonna start this podcast because I have to stay on route, discipline. I really can't wake up. I really can't wait to wake up tomorrow and work out. Like I'm really excited. Like I got a fight coming, and I really want to like demolish this motherfucker. Let me stop. All right. I'm not even sure. I think it's podcast number 173. Who knows what podcast number this is? I'm not even sure. I think it's 173. I have to do 22 podcasts a month. Funny, strong, responsible, respectful, hardworking, gentle, financially stable. What are you talking about, dude? Faithful ones. Hmm. So I've heard, but why is it the faithful ones? Maybe because you didn't have faithful ones. You think racial demographics in an area play a role in dating? I don't know. I would need to see some statistical data to determine that. I don't. That's very random, but maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, it was podcast number 173, guys. Um, I'll try to take some questions after, but let's get into this, and then we'll take some questions. I just want to make some points. All right, guys, podcast number 173. Today we're going to be talking about, and this was something that I was supposed to do yesterday. And yesterday it got a little out of control online. We had a lot of people that wanted to debate, and I think just genuinely just wanted to argue. But that wasn't my thing. But today we're going to be talking about what type of men do women actually want? Um, Now, yesterday the topic was women don't want good men, and I covered that before, and I thought it was pretty cool to make a part two. Um, but today we're going to take things in a little different of a route. I'm not going to play the music, but only because I'm kind of pressed for time and I have to stay on par with getting 200 podcasts done this year. So there was a clip I was watching, and it was actually a really funny clip. And it was this comedian, and he was talking about, and literally the video is titled Women Don't Want Good Men. And I thought that was awfully convenient for me because I have done videos, I have done podcasts on it, on this topic in particular. And he made it really funny. So what I want to do is I want to play the clip for you, and then I want to follow it up with another one and just some commentary. I just thought it was really funny. So I'm not sure this comedian's name, but here, let's play the clip and just listen to what he has to say. I just thought it was very interesting, and I thought it remained good. You want some breakfast? Yeah, I remember Bobby said like last time I'm young. And it's a really funny clip. And my point in playing it was it expands upon this point where you say that, like, women don't want good men because when they actually get those men, um they actually tend to, like, and the only reason I can speak on it is because, if me as playing that role of the relationship analyst, right, where guys pay me to speak about their problems, and that's what I see. The guys who are good, the guys who, like, will buy you flowers, the guys that will pick you up, the guys who are respectful, the guys that are not edgy, no drama, the guys are just straight up. They don't play any games. They'll text you good morning every morning. They'll text you good night every single night, willing to be loyal and monogamous. There's no type of edge to them. I find that those guys have the least amount of success. And a lot of those guys have a level of religiosity too. That's one thing I've seen in common. But when for example, he talked about it. It was like, you want a guy that's almost like abuse. Not saying that you want a guy that's abusive, but there's that edge to it, right? And that's the thing. Like, I don't know exactly what it is, and that's why I said, like, well, let's ask women, because yesterday when I had tried to have this conversation of what type of men, right, do women want, by saying they don't want good men, obviously it's provocative and it gets a lot of people going, like the song, niggas in Paris, but and that's why it's like, what type of men do women actually want? Because when they say a man is going to give them flowers, those men are deemed as corny. Those men are deemed as boring sometime. And not saying, and that's the thing. And we had a guy on here yesterday. He was being a stiffler, and he was basically saying, "Well, you can't quantify that." Yeah, obviously you can't quantify what everybody wants, because everybody wants something different. But I do think that there's this grand sense of like inflated, or of inflation of the ego, or are very high unrealistic standards, right? And then it's like, well, when women say they want this, they want that, it's like, well, that's because guys are a-holes, and guys are mean, and guys are cheating and manipulative. Women manipulate too. Women manipulate too. You realize that, right? It's not just men. This is something that you can find across the board. I'm not going to bring up statistics today because I didn't do any research and bring my homework. But the last statistic that I looked up on cheating, women cheat just as much as men. Not to say that men do it more or women do it more. I mean, well, there's more women than men in the world. So I mean, if you want to be technical, but you know, it's just, and that's just my question. And that's just my question. It's like, what type of men do women actually want? And I think that what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start asking women, right? What type of men do you actually want? And then we're going to take a survey. But before I do that, there was a clip that I had watched, and it was a woman that was talking to a man, and by her standards, he was a great man. But she literally said that for some reason, she didn't want it, didn't click. It just wasn't it for her. But this was a very good man. And it alludes to that fact where, the University of Israel had put out this study where they said anxiety in a relationship increases attraction, especially for women, right? It increased their attraction, meaning things that will cause a woman to be anxious. That could be a variety of things: not saying I love you, ignoring a text message, not seeing you for some time, not hearing from you for some time. There's a lot of different things that can contribute and qualify as anxiety. And I think that's one of the things that women actually want and need. Now, it could be something small like, "Oh, I miss you. I haven't seen you in God knows how long." Maybe that can be considered anxiety. But let's play this clip where a woman basically is talking about how she had a good man but didn't want him for whatever reason. Let's play the clip. Je ne sais quoi. What does that mean? She didn't give me any specific reason. All I heard was that this man was very nice. He sent for cars. He was extreme, planned dates, did everything that was indicative of a good man, right? But not what she said in French, but I'm meaning what was it exactly that you didn't like this man? This man's doing everything right. And she just said, "Well, I'm not putting a relationship on the table." But what is that indicative of, right? And this goes back to my question that when I said yesterday that women don't want good men, but then I'll now pose the question different. What type of men do you want? Let's let her finish. But this is my point. Like she said, I took the dating thing, the title off the table. But see, this is the problem. You're dating with no intent. So when you date, and she was like, I want to see if a guy's gonna cheat. I want to see if a guy's gonna do this, and I'm not gonna give him a relationship ever. I'm just gonna let him linger around and see if he really wants me. That sounds crazy. That's like saying I want you to waste your time and there's no goal. There's no like, there's no goal post, there's no nothing. I just want to know and see if you'll wait around if you really like me, but you have no intentions. That's like why a lot of women aren't getting married, right? Because it's like, well, you're not dating to get married. You're not dating with intentions. You're not saying, well, eventually I want to be married. So you'll spend 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 4 years with this person. But then it's like, well, when they want to get married, well, we never talked about this. You never said that was a concern. You just expected it to happen. There's no intentional dating. And this is my thing. This is my thing. It's like, where's the intent? You can't just say, well, hey, I took the thing off the table and I wanted you to know, well, yeah, if you'll stay, I want to know if a man's gonna cheat. But that's so silly. Why would you want a man to see if a man's gonna stick around and talk to other women? Of course he's gonna talk to other women. If a man's asking you for a relationship. Now, when it comes to relationship dynamics, I told you guys, especially in the relationship course and plenty of videos on on Patreon, I say, well, you should never ask for a relationship before a woman does, right? Because at least you'll know when she's ready. That's and obviously, which is why that's why it comes down to relationship dynamics. When I say, guys, I emphasize on knowing how to be in a relationship. So if most guys don't know this, most guys won't be privy to this, right? Most guys don't really, have game. That's why I say having game is not playing games. It's just simply techniques and knowing how to court a woman and knowing how to make a woman pique her interest, right? A lot of guys think, and that's the problem with the nice guys. They think that having game is in fact playing games. It's not. It's not at all. It's not. But let's let her continue because then she starts to say she changed on how she see dating. But see, that's my thing. And it's like, I get that. Compatibility is a thing. But at one point, do you think that everything is going to be perfect? Not everything is going to be perfect, right? And this is the thing when it comes to standards. And this is why, like, I'm asking women today, what do women want in a man, right? It's like, well, if a man is missing one thing, he doesn't have this one thing. It's like, well, oh, I'm settling now, right? And then another thing is, it's like, well, if you continue to fail in choosing a partner that is successful with you, if you continue to choose people that are not compatible, and you continue to see this routine, don't you think that you should change? Like, if you like people get online and they complain about certain things, right? And they'll say, well, I can't find somebody that's compatible. Well, if you continue to see not success, don't you should try something different? The girl deliberately said she wants to do she doesn't want to change her approach. She wants to say, I'm going to continue to do this and I'm going to continue to do that. Right. So that's why I'm saying today, uh, what do women actually want in a relationship? So this was a very short podcast and I want to get it done. We're en route for 200 podcasts this year. Obviously, that's going to look great on my pockets at the end of the year. But well, in this podcast off, this was a very short one. 16 minutes is half of what we normally do. We normally do 30 minutes. But this is what I want to know. So we'll open the floor for some questions. We didn't do the music today. We'll just end this one off here. Podcast number 173. We'll be back tomorrow. But let's take some questions. If you guys have any questions about the topic, you can't hear the clip, bro. It's not coming through. Maybe, hopefully, you'll be able to hear it on the playback, though. But I want to know, what do women want? What do women want? What type of men do women want? That's what we want to know. So guys, come on up if you want to speak. If you want to speak about the topic. I'm not gonna be here for long because I want to go eat. Got Marlon say cheese. Men who can make their emotions bad and good. Kind of off topic. How do you learn to speak so well? um Honestly, I just watched an interview with Jordan Peterson, and I think after watching that, I don't speak so well. Literally, like, the man watching the interview made me want to up my vocabulary. But I do read a lot. I have a library. Speaking well is something that is I don't know, honestly. I just got this way. Yeah. A man with charisma can get away with a few flaws and exceptions. And no, exactly. Exactly. Have Amazon Kindle for me. Is that wrong with audiobooks? Audiobooks work too. Audiobooks work very well. Audiobooks work very well. But I guess nobody has nothing to say about the topic today. What do women want? But that's the thing about this living a single life, Skincare routine. I work out a lot, especially now that I'm training for a fight. I work out about anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day. Women want a compatible, obviously, but at what point does that serve you, right? Because you're not going to always find everybody that's 100% compatible. Women want a guy that they can trust to speak for them. Okay, I guess that's reasonable, but not every guy is like that. And compatibility, you're gonna have to compromise on some things, and not everything is gonna be 100%. Although, what's the topic? Just got in. Women want a toxic man. completely subjective. Dude, you don't even I bet it's always these simps come on here who dealt with like two women their whole life trying to talk about women. Like, bro, you don't even deal with women. Like, when's the last time you even had sex? How do you set the good positive mood with a woman? It's a very big question in reference to what, like going on a date. I mean, being a positive person always does help. Being a positive person does help. I've been with, oh, shut up. You ain't been with nobody. Shut up. Come send a request up. I want to hear what he got to say. Even though dating in a Western woman is a losing battle, some may say. I do, but the thing is, only reason I'll pose that is because I do have lots of success. I do have lots of success with women in America. So I'm not gonna say that it's a losing battle when it comes to dating women in America, uh, but when it comes to dating women in America, I would say I do have lots of success. So I know a lot of guys do believe in going across seas to date women, but um, if you do have game, you can have lots of success. But what's good, man? What's going on?
You don't remember talking to me yesterday?
Dude, I know who you are. But what were you saying? You said you dated dozens of women.
Yeah, I'm 35 years old. I
Okay,
had a
what does
kid
that
when I was
mean?
15 years old.
Okay, you date dozens. Dozens
So
is not a
do the
lot.
math. If I've been sexually active since at least 14 years old, do the math. How many women do you think I could have managed to sleep with?
All right, no, no, no,
in
no,
the
no, no,
time
no,
I
no,
was
no, no, no,
sober?
no, no. Answer the question. How many?
Well, I don't really know the exact number. Do you keep
Because
count?
you full of shit. Because you're lying.
Well,
Shut
how do
up.
you, wait.
No,
How
no,
do
no.
you
Just
keep?
answer the
Do you,
question.
do you keep?
Answer the question. Give me a number.
I don't have
Give
an
me a
exact number.
number. Then
You don't have an exact
you
number.
lack experience. How long you been married?
You're tripping.
How long you been married?
All right,
Answer the
let me
question.
tell you this.
How long you been married?
If you keep track,
How long you been married?
if you can
How
keep
long you
track
been
of how many
married?
women you slept with,
How
you
long you been married? Listen, you're not gonna come on here over talk me. Answer the question. Because this is the thing. Oh, I've been with dozens of women, but no, I can't say the number. I can't say the number.
I mean, it's somewhere
Say,
between.
give the number.
I mean, it's probably somewhere between like 45 and 50. I don't know.
All right, cool. 45 and 50.
Maybe
I've never
41.
disclosed my 100% body count because I have people in here to watch me. But look,
I mean, I don't know.
but what
I
I
don't know
do
the
say,
100% body count. I
what
would
I
literally
do
have to
say,
go and
what
like.
I do say is when I finished high school, I had about 40, it's anywhere from almost 40 to 50 bodies. And I think the exact number is like 47. I have a book.
40 women by the
I
time
have
you
a
finish high school?
book.
So you
Yes.
fuck 40 minors? Okay.
As a minor, dummy. Like if
Yeah,
I
but
just
if you
said out
fuck
of high
40
school,
minors,
if I just
okay,
said
cool.
out of high school, think about what you're saying. Use your common
Yeah, you
sense.
said by the time
If
you got
I
out of
said
high
by the
school, you
time
fucked
I
40
finished high
minors.
school, I had about 40 to 50 bodies, what does that mean?
Yeah, so you're like,
What does that mean? What does that mean? Use your
so you were
common
like
sense.
grooming kids at high
What
school
does
level?
common sense says? What does common sense say? One at a time with the
Why do you keep
speaking.
muting?
One at
Why are you
because
muting
you
Howard?
keep cutting me off. It's my show. You're not gonna come up here and
Okay, you
keep
won't shut up.
interrupting me.
You're
You
asking a
got
question. You're not gonna listen.
listen. You have one more time to cut me off, or you're getting booted. Simple. One at a time. Either you're gonna show respect or you're not gonna speak at all. Simple. Because I obviously you came up here just to be combative. Now, like I said, if I said I finished high school, what about 45, anywhere from 45 to 50? That means in high school, obviously I'm talking to people my age. Now, if you can't comprehend that, like what? Like, is that not
I
common
comprehend.
sense?
I comprehend that.
All right. So when and it's I find it funny, you're like, oh well, I had a certain amount of body. I can't say, but automatically, oh, 45 to 50.
That's a guess. I can't tell
How
you
do
that
you
for
not
sure
know?
because I don't keep track.
Because you're full of shit. How long you been married?
Like,
How long you been
do
married?
you have a book or something?
How long you
I've
been
been married for
married?
2 years.
Okay.
I'm married for 2 years. Tell me,
Okay.
do you have a book somewhere where you keep track of all the women you've
I
slept with?
do actually.
Can we see it?
Why
Can we
would
see it?
why would I show that? And I
Well,
have
if you're
shown it
not checking,
before. I have
you
shown it
can say no.
before.
That's fine.
I have shown it before on my
That's fine.
YouTube channel. I'm
It's
not
your
sure
private
if I can
business. You don't have to
find
show
it
me.
right now, but let me see.
You
Hold
don't
on.
have to show us. I understand. It's your private business, but I personally don't have such a record.
Yeah, because you don't get girls like me. And
Well,
that's
yeah, I can't
okay.
remember all the girls. Can you remember every girl you've had sex with?
Almost. Not everyone.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie. Not everyone. That's why I have a
but you ever
book.
been drunk and fucked a chick and didn't even fucking remember her the next day?
I don't drink. Sorry, I ain't never been drunk a day in my life.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, yeah,
I've
that's
been
the
drunk
difference
too.
between me and you.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, yeah, I can't remember all of them. Sorry.
yeah,
I mean, there's probably a
yeah.
good 10 or 12 I
Right,
can't remember.
right. Don't get in trouble with your wife.
I'm not a man whore anymore. I'm a married man.
You ain't never been a man whore.
I mean, I kind of was, but I'm not really proud of it.
See, this is example.
Why would I be proud of that?
This is
Honestly, the type of person I
this is an
was when I was
example
in
of
high
a
school,
simp. He lying about a body count and then getting in trouble with his wife. Don't come on here and try to flex. You thought you had a whore. 40 bodies ain't a whore. That ain't no real numbers.
You're right, because I'm sure it was slightly more than that, but you're probably right. Compared to you, who managed to have sex with over 50 women or 50 girls by the time he was 18, that's crazy. I think by the time I exited high school, because back then I did keep count because I was young and immature, but
Right.
by the time I completed high school, I think I had been with no more than 10 women or 10 girls.
Okay.
So yeah, you were definitely outpacing me by several times.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, but does that give you some sort of insight that I'm lacking?
To speak on the topic, yeah.
Really? Because I think a high number of partners is indicative of like multiple failed relationships, or substance like relationships without any substance that were just purely a sexual thing.
But see, guys, look, and let me speak to the audience for a second. This is a clear example of what you call a corn, right? A cornball. Because anybody who actually gets girls, you understand that every girl that you hook up with isn't a relationship. And I've never called myself alpha. I never said I'm deemed to be alpha. But no, let me listen. I let you talk. Now stop. I told you about that before, bro. Seriously, let's keep it respectful. Now, anybody who knows you get girls, every single girl who you hook up with, especially if you're hooking up with girls in a mass quantity, you know that these are not relationships. Somebody who is deemed to be somebody who is desired obviously gets a lot more offers than somebody who doesn't. And the things he is saying is a clear indicator that he doesn't have those type of options. If somebody says, oh, that goes to show you had a lot of failed relationships, because that's indicative of you have no substance in your relationships. Close spoken, and you can always tell somebody by the things that they say. Right? Because somebody who speaks like that is not used to living a lifestyle where you get a girl, you can have a different girl every night. You have a lot of choosing signals. You have a lot of options. And why would he say something like that? Oh, that's indicative of you having relationships that have no substance, because he's somebody who doesn't get options like that. He's somebody who never had option like that, right? So when you get up here and speak and say, "Oh, well, that's indicative of," yeah, that's because you didn't have the options, and that's why I call bullshit. That's why I say you're lying, because when I first asked you, and I said, "Hey, how many bodies do you have?" He said, "Oh, I don't know, I don't remember." Then all of a sudden, well, yeah, it's about 40 something. See the bullshit, see the cap, because he's capping right now. He's capping. You got to call a cap.
Are you going to engage?
You got to call a cap. You can speak now.
You
can speak now.
Okay. All right. So, and first of all, I would like to have a back and forth, not a diatribe then mute.
Well, listen, it's my show. Listen, no. It doesn't matter what you want. You on my platform. You on my live. I said you can speak. I said you can speak when I'm done talking. And then when I'm done talking, I'll let you speak.
So you don't see the value?
No. Not the values. I create the rules here. I'm giving structure, not you. And I just gave you. Now I said you can speak. Now say what you got to say.
Okay. All right. So generally, whenever you enter a relationship, are you loyal, or do you continue to sleep around like an open relationship?
No, I don't cheat. If I'm in a monogamous relationship, if I decide to be in a monogamous relationship, I wouldn't cheat. No. Okay, I have before in the past. I've had before in the past, but in like a monogamous relationship, no. I try my best.
During your time in high school, while you were with over 50 girls, should I assume that during that time you were either a cheater or you never had a relationship?
No, I've had relationships, but You got to understand, as somebody in high school, these relationships are short lived. You got to understand,
So yeah,
being in high school, if you're in high school, right, and you
I'm
get a
getting
lot
to
of
a point.
offers,
That's the
how
thing.
long is a relationship lasting in high school?
I'm getting to a point. I'm getting
Yeah,
to a point. If you allow.
but all right, get to your point. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
If you yeah, the point is that when someone's, unless you're a cheater, which I'm granting that. So you told me you're not a cheater, so I'll grant you that you're not a cheater.
I've done it in the
So
past, but yeah, continue.
so if unless you're a cheater, when you're in a relationship, you don't tend to rack up a high body count because you're being exclusive to one person, right?
Hmm.
So if you've been with hundreds and hundreds of women in your short life, because you're only what, 20, 28, 29?
I'm 30.
Okay,
I know I look
you're
young. I
35.
look young. I know. I know.
I'm 30. I'm 35.
Okay.
So in our short years, the only way that you can that me and you could have managed to get hundreds or at least maybe 200, let's say modestly, of partners, that would necessitate that either we were cheaters or that we weren't in very many committed relationships.
Okay. And what's your point?
That logically follows, right?
Yeah. What's your point?
Okay, so my point is, by you saying that because you've been with hundreds of women, that makes you more of an authority. But then when I rebutted with that by saying it's really more indicative that you've had less successful relationships, and that the matches that you have had with women were without substance, were just purely physical, sexual exchanges, right? Does that not make sense now that I've explained my viewpoint?
Okay, now let me help you understand, because you're speaking of a perspective from somebody who doesn't have a lot of options.
I'm
You're
going from
all
your
right.
logic.
Okay, let me help you understand, because clearly you're not comprehending what it's like for somebody to have a lot of options, right? Because I'll help you understand. Now listen, let's make an example of somebody who doesn't have a lot of options and does have a lot of. Matter of fact, let me ask you a question. Would you say that if you were with someone special, right, you'll probably, that connection that you have with your wife is special, and that's something that you'll probably never want to mess up, because it'll probably be hard to find that again? Would you say so?
Most definitely.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Now look, his mindset is, and I speak to guys like him all the time, and the reason why I can make him agree to something, because I know his prototype. He is somebody that is not used to getting a lot of options. This is why I know he was lying when he said that, yeah, I've been with 40 or 50 girls. Listen, if you can't control yourself, mute your mic before I kick you off, because I'm being patient with you. Thank you. Now, this is somebody who has not been with a lot of girls, and this is why I know his mindset, and this is why he had to agree. Now, I speak to guys like this all the time. Now, guys who I speak to who do have a lot of options, and even myself, right? Growing up in high school, like say if you get a lot of options, right? You're more willing to hold out on some girls versus accepting anything that comes to you. Why? Because you know, and you've seen that, like, well, all right, I know Stacy wanted to talk to me. She's like the third hottest girl in school. I know this girl wants to talk to me because she's like the fourth hottest girl in school. Then this girl, like, that's not even hot, says, "Oh, can I go to prom with you?" And you'd be like, "Well, I can hold out." So you'll say no, because I know that I can get better options, because I'm used to having a lot of options, right? Now, the man who has a lot of options, who does get a lot of hookups, understand that every time I'm with a girl, it is not a part of a relationship. So I have a lot of options. Whereas somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience and options, they'll come along and they'll get with one girl, right? And that girl may be subpar, even beautiful, or may even be just as beautiful as a girl that I've hooked up with plenty of times. So when he says, "Oh, my wife is something special and I would never want to mess this up because I know that I would never be able to find this again." Whereas somebody who has lots of options, they have a different mindset. And they say, "Well, okay, well, I know that this girl's pretty," right? Say if she's on the same level as this man's wife, says, "I know that this girl's pretty. I know that this girl is beautiful, but I get these type of options all the time." What is that indicative of? That's indicative of somebody who has lots of options, and his world and his worldview is different from somebody who doesn't. And this is why I'm able to call bullshit, because I see it all the time. So when he says, "Oh, but what if I never find that kind of special person again? What if I never find that special girl again?" Because that's something that he's not used to. That special thing that he has with that one person, he's not used to having that on a regular basis. And that's what separates me from him. So when he says that, "Oh, well, if you had a lot of options, you're not a cheater. That means your relationships are no substance, or you just been cheating. No, bro, there are people in this world who gets tons of options that where they can just have a hookup with a girl, and they can go on with life just having tons of hookup. But why that makes no sense to him is because he's not somebody with a lot of options. He's not a man that has an abundance mindset. And this is the clear difference. This is the clear difference, because he says, oh well, that means only two things: you were a cheater. Dude, there was points in times at growing up where it was like a different girl almost every day a week, especially if I live in an area. And after school, me and my boys, we went to a different school to talk to girls. We went to other schools. We went to different boroughs to talk to girls, right? After school, if I wasn't going to the boxing gym, I was hanging out with girls. Girls was a hobby. So listen, bro, bro, wait your turn. I know you probably lack the discipline to follow rules, but this is the structure. If I let you talk,
Yeah, it's kind of you're repeating yourself.
no. Like, stop, bro. I'm trying not to kick you off, but you're really testing my patience. Like, just be quiet, mute your mic. You on my show. Simple.
A good way to measure maturity is how easily you're frustrated.
All right, now listen. Back to what I was saying. So this is what I mean. And this is the clear indicator when a different in mindset and somebody who doesn't have options and somebody who does, because he can't comprehend how can somebody have so many bodies? How can somebody have so many? So you either had to cheat, or you had to like be have no substantive relationships. But that idea of him just hooking up with girls and having an abundance of girls that wanted you never came into his head. And why it never came to his head? Because that's not a lifestyle he leads. That's something that he's never did. So when I call bullshit when he said, "Oh, I had 40 something bodies," at first he couldn't say. This is how you spot the bullshit, right? But now, Mateo, you can talk.
Oh, cool, awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I got the gist of what you're saying like 2 minutes in, but thanks for continuing for another eight. So, what I want to respond to that line of logic. Your line of logic is this, right? I'm gonna steel man you, right? I'm gonna reiterate your argument to make sure that I'm not mischaracterizing it. All right. So your argument is this: that if you have plenty of options, then you won't see one particular woman, or rarely will you see one particular woman that offers something to you exceptional, which would cause you to feel fear that you may never encounter it again. And so basically the value of women is reduced in your eyes because supply and demand is higher for you, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, well, I took it as you were saying that the reason why I was afraid, said I was afraid to lose my wife if I ever did something messed up, is because I was afraid I'd never meet someone like her again, right?
That is the example that I gave, yeah.
Okay, so that's one explanation that the women are few and far between. I latch on to the whatever available woman is presented to me, or there's another option that explains this, right? And tell me if this logically follows. That, or I think we could use your life as an example in this one, because you've been with, let's say, what, 200 women,
I never
300 women.
I ain't never disclosed that number, but continue going on your
Well, it's in the
example.
hundreds, right? It's in the hundreds.
I've never disclosed that number, but continue. Only thing I disclosed was after high school.
Well, I think if we just extrapolate your 4 years in high school, shit, you got to be nearing the thousands by now, right?
Not
So,
thousands is crazy, but continue.
okay, well, we extrapolate 50 to 40
All right,
years.
man. Mateo,
Let's
go
say
on your
let's say
example.
200.
Go
Let's say
continue,
200. This
continue.
guy's been with 200 women, right? And after being with 200 women and counting, he still has not found one woman that meant enough for him to marry. So you must agree with me that that one woman that you love enough to marry, she's exceedingly rare, isn't she?
No, not really.
So you've met multiple women that you would marry.
Absolutely.
Why aren't you married?
Well, are are you done with your point? Because I don't want to necessarily cut you off.
Your answer depends on what I say.
No. You have to finish your point,
Okay, my point
and then
is
I'll elaborate.
that that wife material, and wife material isn't based on superficial things like looks or weight or how many children she has or body count. Wife material is dependent on your guys's the two individuals in the couple, your guys' unique compatibility and love for each other. And when you've been with lots of women, at least in my opinion, once you've been past a certain amount of women, you start to see a pattern. The pattern is that most people you're not going to be compatible with. Will you be able to bed them? Will you be able to get them in the sack? Will you be able to take them on dates and keep their company, have a good time? Sure. But could you commit yourself to life and build a family with them? No, probably not. Those women aren't very common. And so when I found my wife, I knew that she was my wife, so I married her. Now, I know there's people that get divorced every other day, but I would argue that those people never had a true, loving, compatible marriage in the first place. So I don't like someone said in the comments earlier, quality over quantity.
Are you finished, Mateo?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay, now let me speak. Now, to answer his point, and I think he has a hard time understanding. When I made the point about him, listen, Mateo, I'm trying with you, man. When he made the point of saying, well, that means if you've been with so many women and you can't have a quality relationships, that means that there's something wrong, whatever he was saying. Now listen, back to the point, and this goes back, and this is the part that he missed. When I said somebody who has an abundance, they can find people like his wife on the regular because they've had tons of options. Now he's basically saying that when you have tons of options, does it basically you almost kind of lose something? And there may be some truth to that, but that's not necessarily the case. The case is when you have a higher threshold, right? And you have a certain amount of options, that doesn't mean that out of all those women, you can't find wives. What that means is that your selection for what you will take serious, your standards are a lot higher. So if I said, okay, well, this guy's only been with 3 girls and this guy's been with 30 or 50 or 40 girls, or maybe 100 girls, and let's say that maybe this guy is used to a certain caliber of women and he's seen a different types of women and he understands women on a different level. So now this man has a different standard where this guy doesn't have lots of options, right? So he'll say, oh my God, yeah, this is a quality woman, I love her, I'm great, I'm happy, I'll never catch this woman again. Whereas this man over here, he says, well, I've seen her type, I've been with her type plenty of times, and she has a few flaws that I'm not willing to deal with. Whereas this man says, well, hey, um, you know what? She does have some flaws, and it's like, well, I'll just take it because I'm not used to those kind of options. Well, to answer your question, is that the man that has more options, what he's willing to accept, he can hold out a little longer, right? Where you say, well, a guy that's coming from a third world country and he's never had McDonald's before, and I'm used to 5-star restaurants, I'm not going to just go for McDonald's because my standards are different, because I've had more, I've had better. My taste palates is different. You've only used to a certain amount of things, so you're willing to settle. And that's the lack of understanding that you have. And that's why I'm a little more qualified to speak on this topic than you are. Let me finish talking, bro. Come on. Come on. I'm trying to give you a fair conversation, but I didn't talk when you talked.
I was talking about you though.
And this is how you know somebody's losing a conversation. That's how I'm taking him to school right now. This is why he can't help himself but to be quiet, because I'm schooling him. But back to my point. Now, to be fair to his point, now psychologicalscience.org, they put out a study, and they basically said that men and women, both of them, when they are both with multiple partners, it is harder for them to be in a monogamous relationship. But the study showed that, coming back from that study where the men and women tried to settle down, men, through this habit, they created new habits and then neural pathways. It actually made new folds in their brain where they created this new habit of being with somebody. So yes, if you're with a multitude of people and it becomes a habit for you, it may be harder for you to be with one person. But through habit, through continuous making this habit of being with one person, it can stand true. But to my point is, the whole point of this, right? And I can be fair and say that, yes, it may be a little harder for somebody that's used to a ton of options to settle down, right? But my point is that he's not used to options. And saying everything he said, he exposed himself. And I had to correct him and school him. And that's the difference of experience. Wisdom is the mother of learning, but experience is the mother of learning, right? Because when you have a lot of experience in something, you can see and you can tell. And I speak to guys like him all the time that don't have a lot of options. The guys that come and say, well, it's crazy. How can you be with a lot of women and you didn't cheat? Or you just had a whole bunch of relationships that weren't substantial and had no meaning. No, because that goes to show you people usually only speak from their perspective. They can only speak on their experience. So that's where he's drawing his logic from. Because the only time he's only ever really been with somebody is when it was probably a relationship. That's why I call bullshit when he said that, oh, I've been with 40 something women, when at first he couldn't say it. Simple. Like that's how you expose people, man. And he's been exposed. And I just took him to school. So, but what I said, did it make sense? What I said, did it make sense? No, answer my question before you speak. It did. Well, no. What I said, did it make sense?
Which part?
Any of it?
Because really, no, none of it.
Are you serious? This is how you call a bullshit. I'm a very fair person. I'm very fair. Like what? Come on.
Yeah, I could, like, honestly, if you gave me the time, I could word by word break down everything you said.
Okay, what didn't make sense? I'm only entertaining it because I already schooled him, and now he's just chatting now. So I'm gonna let you speak. Go ahead.
What'd you just tell us, teacher? When you were schooling us, you told us that the more partners somebody has, right, the harder it is for them to pair bond and be in a monogamous relationship. Correct? Didn't that website you cited, did it say that? I'm asking a question.
It did. That's what I said.
Okay, so you're telling me that it's the matter of me not having as many options, but it sounds like you're just kind of confessing your own brokenness and your inability to.
But what else did I say? What else did I say?
You said that people like me who haven't been with very many women, that you, according to you, that we glob on basically to whatever woman the best woman we can find as soon as we can, because we haven't encountered very many women like them, and we think that they're rarer than they actually are.
Exactly. So in saying that, that means that the man who has had a lot of options, his standards are a lot higher. And it's not saying that I'm broken and that I can't choose a wife. You don't. No. Wait. You don't know my personal life. You don't know my personal life. I could be ready to get married tomorrow. I could have somebody that's very close by that wants to marry me. I could be intending people, because if I'm being honest, I get marriage offers a lot. I'm Muslim, right? And if you know anything about Islam, you get a lot of arranged marriages. But to my point was, to my point was, is that when somebody does have a lot of options, what happens is they have a chance to basically, be a little more picky and with their standards. That's what that is. And that's the thing. He's saying, well, you said it yourself. You just admitted you're broken. I'm not broken, bro. Just because I didn't get married as fast as you, that doesn't mean that oh well, I don't want to be married, or I can't get married, or I have this inability to be married. No, it's just that my standards are a little higher. And if that's something that I have not gotten around to, right? And then on top of that, my standards for getting married is different from him. It's very different. And this is a belief of mine, right? So if I say, in order for me to get married, I have to be able to take care of a family on my own, meaning anything that my wife wants, anything that the bare necessities, like providing a home, taking care of children, I have to be responsible for. Meaning that anything that my wife, anything of her money is hers. If she decides to pay a bill, that's on her. That becomes charity, right? So in order to take care of a family, I have to have a certain amount, a certain threshold, a certain amount of income. Now, some women are willing to compromise on that, but some are not. But if I'm being fair and I'm keeping my morals and ethics, that says that, well, I have to be able to take care of that woman and a family just in case we do have a kid. So whereas you may just be, sharing bills, he sounds like a feminist or a womanist, goes 50-50 and allow his woman to pay half bills, or allows her to work, or whatever the case may be. But that's not something I subscribe to. And see, there's a lot of different things that I have to do before I get married. So my standards are higher. right? The accountability is higher. And that's the difference between a caliber man like me and somebody like him. And I never once said, oh, I'm alpha, I'm this, I'm that. I'm no. But that's the difference between me and him. And he exposed himself. And that continuous interrupting and saying this and saying that is exactly why I said what I said. He exposed himself. He exposed himself because who says, "Oh, it's impossible for you to have that many bodies and not be a cheater"? Yeah, like yeah, I cheated before in the past, but that doesn't mean every single girl I hooked up with was my girlfriend. But that goes to show you a mindset. That means, oh, you can't have sex with a girl and she not be your girlfriend. That's so outside of the norm. No, that's outside of the norm for you, Mateo. I get it. And when you speak to a lot of guys on a regular basis, you hear the same shit, and that's why I'm able to expose him like that, because he exposes himself by the things he said. You got to understand, when you let people talk and you just sit back and let people talk, they expose themselves. They expose themselves. And yes, I get it. I shouldn't be having sex. I shouldn't be doing this. It's haram, stuck for the law. Yeah, I get it. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna get married soon. Make dua for me. Pray for me. I don't go to Jahannam, right? But like he exposed himself. And this is why. And you know, Mateo, I'm not gonna lie, you inspired me. You inspired me because now he said something yesterday. He said, "Are you qualified to speak on this topic?" And I said, just based off experience. Just based off experience. And you know what? What I'm doing now, I'm going back to school to take classes, right? And we're going to get a degree so I can speak super qualified to speak on this topic. And then on top of that, I can start charging people insurance instead of just charging cash. So then I'll make more than what I'm making now. So thank you, Mateo, for, you know, for your inspiration. But you see, guys, you see how men expose you. See how, not just men, women too. People expose themselves when they speak this way. And he exposed himself greatly. And this, and you know what, Mateo, you were a great great devil's advocate, because I knew he came up here with just intentions just to argue. But he exposed himself in doing it. And I took him to school today. Mateo, I hope you learned a lot. I gave you some education, I gave you some statistics, right? It seems like a lot of people want to speak to Mateo, but you have to have more than 1,000 followers in order to get up here. I don't think that you can just get up here and
listen.
I accepted him by accident. It was an accident. I didn't mean to accept you, Mateo. Sorry. But anyway, guys, does anybody else want to come up and speak? Anybody else have an opinion? Listen, the topic was, what kind of men do women want? That's what I wanted to know. But Mateo wanted to Mateo wanted to come up here and speak. Oh, now he talking about let's be friendly. Do you have advice for low experienced men looking to get into game? Game like what? What type of game? He ain't got enough bodies. He just doesn't have enough experience. It's always easy to tell. What's up, Bree? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Let everybody know where you're from.
Okay. I'm Bree. I'm in Cali right now.
Okay. You be careful. You might run into Mateo. I heard he's from Cali too.
Unfortunately.
Well, what's up? What you want to talk about?
I actually wanted to address Mateo, but I see he can't be mature about situations and he
Yeah.
cuts people off. So I think I'll go ahead and say this and let him stalk your chat.
Okay.
So since I am a woman and I am very sure about what I want, and I can speak on the topic at hand instead of talking about body count, which I don't see the relevance how that had anything to do with the topic. Let's just go ahead and say that for me personally, I I can't speak for all women, but I can say is I have talked to a lot of women, and I do have experience that I believe what women are looking for is someone who can, make them feel valid. Valid in a way they understand us, they appreciate us, but at the same time know how to lead, which I think Mateo lacks. I feel like, and especially you could hear in the background, his wife was lingering over him. And it's not an attack at you, Mateo, but it's literally, I've dealt with men like you, and I would walk all over you. And I just don't see, and that's not what I want. As a woman, that's not what I want. I'm sorry, I don't want a man I can run over. I want someone who can take the lead. And unfortunately, you fight like a little boy on someone else's life, and you watch his life and stalk his life. I watched you for a couple of days now, and it's like all you're trying to do is try to word salad him. I don't understand it. So really, like guys like you say you have experience, but you're probably the guy I turned down many times before. So I'm just gonna say that's what I want. I hope another woman can say what her piece is. I do believe some women want toxic men, because I'm like, girl, why do you keep going back to that same guy or that same type? I don't understand words. Actually, I have a master's degree, Mateo, so come at me again. You're not the only educated one. But anyway, that's my take on it. It only took me a few minutes to say that instead of trying to attack the host. I appreciate you having me up. Hopefully, he can take some notes from you next time.
Well, damn, thank you, Bree. You just said a lot. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing, King.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know.
Wow, Mateo. That shit was great, Mateo. Damn, what happened, Mateo? Mateo, damn, Mateo. Mateo, I think you expose yourself very well. See, and I told you about yourself, and then you have women coming on saying that you're the type of person that they will walk all over. Damn, you've been stalking me for days, Mateo. He might be a man fan. I don't know. No, it is good content. I appreciate. That's why I never blocked you, Mateo. I don't take it personal. Oh man. Yeah, Mateo seems a bit argumentative. This was some good stuff. This makes for good. I'm not gonna lie. He's secret Patreon. Word, right? Mateo about to Mateo, make sure you get the free ebook. It's gonna drop in a few days. In a few days. Yeah, that was a good one. Good one. Anyway, guys. This was a good little topic. What are we talking about? What are good boundaries to set when going long distance? I'll give you two. The rest you gotta get the book. I'm gonna put a free ebook out for you guys. But obviously, what's considered cheating? Like I told you, the story of John, right? Like this guy, one kid that took coaching, and his ex, his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend's his girlfriend's sister, ex-boyfriend, little sister, saw him dancing with a girl at the bar, and she broke up with him, and the relationship ended like that because they never discussed and decided and set boundaries on what they considered cheating. And because they didn't have that conversation, his relationship was over. So with that being said, these are some of the things that you want to set boundaries on, but you have to have a list of things, because some things may come up after the relationship, some things may come up before. But yeah, so this was a good one. Good little panel, light podcast, but good interaction. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna end this one off. This was a great podcast.